Well, hey, everybody, it's the Two Big Guys in Grover podcast, and it is PBR week in Kansas City, so things are a little bit different. If you're watching us on YouTube, you'll notice that maybe the set, well, it didn't get any bigger, but there's a lot more people here. So Scott Grover, Cody Mcgee, Cris Welch.
It can't get any bigger.
I resemble that remark. Yeah, the set's not going to get any bigger. But we're joined by Wrangler NFR average champion Paulo Crimber, PBR superstar, and some guy by the name of Jose Vitor Leme. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him, but he's kind of the
check him out.
Kind of the big guy on the map right now.
He's making gravy right now. So,
if you've watched the first couple episodes of the podcast, it's been very much us three. This is kind of our conversation series.
Yeah, this was just supposed to be an opportunity for people to see what they, when you hear Matt West and Clint Atkins and they tell the story in the arena, this allows us to actually have another opportunity. Learn to sit down and talk to these guys about, coming over and being here. And let's jump right into it. Paulo, when you came over, what year did you come over originally?
That was 1998.
Okay, 1998. And what is the differences now that you feel between 1998 and now for these guys?
First, we didn't have cell phones, right? We have to look at the map to get to places, and we could never see a bull unless we get on them or just kind of watch them bucking, now. And that was just me and Adriano back then. Now it's just probably 50 of those guys here. I call it Brazilian invasion, it's just too many of those guys here.
But that brings up a good point. You didn't have an opportunity. I mean, you had to come over here literally with the map.
You're right.
Try and get from one rodeo to the next. Because at that time, you were still pro rodeoing.
Yeah, no, I came straight. My first World Finals was 1998. That's what I came for. Like when I won Barretos and I qualified that year. It was part of the PBR sanction, and I'll qualify. The money I won in Barretos put me into World Finals directly. And then I went. My first event out was Calgary, and I missed the first day. It was a PBR event too, and I got there for just the second round, and I still make the show round and won a little bit of money there. And then I went to Columbus, Ohio. That was my second event before Vegas, and then go to Vegas. But I just came from Barretos, nothing, and then after that, I tried to go with some of the American guys to some events, and I didn't know. I went to school 6 years in Brazil, and I never went to one day of class to learn English neither. I just learned talking to people, and before I didn't have nothing. If there's a picture on the menu, I can order what I want, and if not, I just have to just point at the same, and get whatever to get.
That's how he orders. I grunt.
That's why we eat at Waffle House.
Yeah.
So go ahead, or whoever. I find it. So who did you jump in back then? When you jumped in, who did you jump in
it was Cord Navarre, and Core McFadden, Core Melton, Greg Potter, Dave Samsel was a bunch of those guys I traveled with. Lee Aiken, there was a bunch. Okie, some guys from Oklahoma, and they're the best. No.
So you didn't understand their language, and they didn't understand you.
No,
Okies talk totally different than the rest.
Yeah,
of the
you
world,
bet.
Right?
It was almost like we in the different worlds, but we were.
So Jose, you came over. Your first year over here was 2017.
17. Yeah.
17.
Yep.
And prior to that, you were like what, 19? How old are you now?
23.
23. So you've been 20 years old when you came over?
Yes, sir.
I remember the first time I saw him was at the South Point. We rode up the elevator together. You got off, looked both ways, and then I think I got off and said, that way. And I helped you get to your room because you didn't know where you were, what you were doing. And
I think that was like 24 hours, literally. First 24 hours.
Yeah, you weren't here very long.
How long had you been riding bulls before you came over with the PBR?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, before I come to PBR, I rode 3 years.
So the bull riding, only been riding 6 years?
6, yeah, 6 years.
Total.
Riding bulls, 18.
So all the bull riders just went, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But growing up, you played soccer.
Yeah.
Why in the world would you, it doesn't make any sense. Bull riding to me still is crazy. I've never done it, don't want to do it. I'm glad you guys do it because then I have a job, but why bull riding over soccer?
My dad riding bulls before too, and I think this on my blood too.
And he fights. He did some fighting too. It's not just soccer. He's really talented. He was like
boxing or MMA?
Karate, wasn't it?
Oh, karate.
Yeah, karate. He's a Brazilian champion karate on his age group. I mean,
like jiu-jitsu type, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
like wrestling stuff. Yeah, kicking and just
Would he wrestle Cris?
Yeah, I bet there'll be a good matchup, huh?
The real question is, will Cris wrestle?
Tell him just get his rope. Just get his rope and his spurs. Be about the same.
Yeah, but the same, man. But I think for those guys, just being here now is just a little bit easier because they got me. They got a lot of guys. They've been here a while, and all the new guys coming in, they always have somebody to go pick them up at the airport and just kind of guide them around. It's just make it easy for everybody. Right now, we probably have 50 Brazilians carry the U.S. right now just going somewhere. You know, well, it'd be 6-8 guys in a van going to one velocity event, and then the majority of them is here, and it's a lot of them.
It's a big family, though.
When we were down there and you guys were bucking, do you remember that night?
Mm-hmm.
It was the night you rolled your four-wheeler.
Yeah, they get pretty wild.
They roped a bull behind Jose trying to get him in, and Jose was tied off on him. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the bull's going
That's
one
the
way,
Brazilian style, Bubba.
Four-wheeler's going the other, and Jose's flying through the air.
But it is a family. And when we left there after those couple days, that was the most impressive thing, is that as everybody's pulled together and rely on one another and make sure you take care of everyone.
Yeah,
inclusion.
It's just like we don't have any families around here. It's just like me and my wife and Jose's wife, and if we don't rely on each other, we don't have anybody. You know, it's just different. We don't have our moms or dads or relatives to help us out. Go get your kid at school, you know, if you can't make it and stuff. This is what we rely on. And when we have something to do, we just kind of, hey, can you do this for me? Because I'll be going. It's pretty awesome.
And I watched that. I watched as you interacted, as everybody interacted with you, Paulo, as that mentor role.
Yes.
I mean, clearly, when we were over by the arena bucking, it was awesome to see you, Jose, Silvano, just all the guys who, have performed at a high level.
Yes, sir.
Bringing in a mentor to the young guys. That you could tell that some of them were not that they were just starting, but probably just starting their journey here.
You're right, and that's really special. I think it's a lot of people see that. They see those guys doing good on the weekend, but they do work hard through the week to get where they are. They do kind of get on bulls. They do their homework. They read. And Jose, for example, to me is the most talented and dedicated bull rider I ever see. He does everything he needs to do. If he doesn't do good this week, he'll work on it during the week, and everybody kind of tries to help. It's not any jealousy between us.
So Jose, when you've mentioned in a couple of interviews and that some of the people that you looked up to, that you've watched, your idols or your, and you had mentioned, Paulo, Adriano, and even like Luciano, just some of the guys. How does it feel to be, from our standpoint, now you're one of those? You're amongst your peers, but you're amongst your idols.
I'll translate that too. Ele está querendo dizer assim, que quando você comentou, ele perguntou para você qual que eram seus ídolos crescendo, que você via montar tal, você citou alguns nomes, e hoje você está no meio deles, você é um deles. Como isso é para você hoje?
It's amazing because when I kid, I see these guys on TV, on videos, and today hoje eu tô no meio, de todos eles.
Hoje você é o cara que está sendo olhado, vou estar te vendo.
Eu acho que outras pessoas me veem hoje e
como você via outros.
E como via outros antes. E eu, assim, eu acho que eu dou um exemplo para outros também. Isso é muito fantástico, muito gostoso.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing because like he was watching us as a rider and just kind of trying to be like us, and today he's the one who's been watched. Today is the guy on the other side of the coin. He's the guy who was everybody looking up to and make an example. And it's I can tell this. My son is John Crimber. He's been riding, and I never see a kid that age ride so perfect like he does, not because it's my son, just because I think he hang out, with those guys, Jose, Luciano, all of them guys.
Yeah.
They're so great, and he just learning for the best he can get, and for him to be there, and he look up to Jose like big time, and that's amazing.
Jose, back in Brazil, do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have one little sister.
Little sister?
Yeah.
Does she want to come over here?
I don't know yet, but she want.
She came over the finals, the World Finals. Yes, she was here for about 4 months, 3 months.
3 months.
3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up? We'll start with Paulo first. What was it like growing up in Brazil compared to the way that now John gets to grow up here?
It's very simple. I mean, when I was 15 years old, I have one pair of jeans to wear. John is 14. He probably got 50. We can provide so much for those kids. Everybody has Brazil is really big, but it's the status is so unfair. Like very few people is really, really rich, and majority of them is not kind of, have a poor kind of side of the story. But everybody's really, to me, having John and be able to take him, I was talking to a friend last night on the way up here, to be able to take our kids to do what they love and try to provide everything. We didn't have it because I have to learn on my own. I didn't have no one telling me, hey, you got to put your rope here and do this and do that. You're going too much. You just sitting, he's leaning back too much or going too forward. I didn't have no one telling me that. I have to figure it out on my own. And just to be able to do that, kind of do the shortcut for my son, it's amazing. I think U.S. is the best country in the whole world. I mean, I know I'm a Brazilian, but I've been here so long, and I tried to move back for a couple of years, and I couldn't get used to live on my home country, and I have to come back.
I'm going to ask Jose the same question, but first off, where did the dance come from?
The dance,
which I've been trying to get your boy John to do,
it's
and he's
just
not doing it.
Break it, buddy, break it. You got to break it. Break dancing. See, it's just, yeah.
Hey,
But,
Cody does that too. Cody, show us
yeah,
yours.
show your move.
Let's see your break
Come
dance.
on.
Mine's more like the truffle shuffle, not breakdancing.
I was just a little village kid, like growing up, and we have some group of kids trying to find something to do. We don't have much to play with. We just kind of create this little group with the little radio on the back and kind of try to do the dance moves, just playing around. That was all it is. It was nothing.
So, Jose, what was it like for you growing up?
Okay.
Como que foi para você a sua infância? Como você cresceu vindo? Como que foi sua infância?
Minha infância eu sempre, assim, me dediquei aos esportes. Eu sempre gostei de praticar esportes. Eu laçava no Brasil, montava nos bezerros, jogava futebol, lutava karatê. Então eu sempre me considerei um esportista, sabe? Mas
você sempre teve contato, seu pai estava sempre junto, que nem eu não tive essa parte.
Meu pai sempre junto comigo, me ajudando em tudo que eu sempre fiz. Então eu tive um bom apoio da minha família em tudo que eu fiz, e fui eliminando de pouco em pouco os esportes que eu não queria. Tentei mais no futebol porque eu jogava bem, então eu tentei até aos 18 anos, e quando eu fiz 18 eu peguei e falei, acho que eu quero montar em todas, então tô aqui até hoje.
He grew up like pretty much doing everything based in sports. He tried everything, but he has the support from his family. His daddy always kind of helped him out and kind of took him away and just tried, and he did everything. He did soccer, karate, he did a bunch of sports, but when he turned 18, he decided, well, I think he kind of tried to live behind all the sports he really didn't kind of like much, and he tried a little longer with soccer, but he really got inside. He wants to be a bull rider, and we knew it when he was 18 years old. He was going to do that, and this one he kind of left soccer behind and went to bull riding.
I talk about this in the house, in office and things a lot, is we see these guys come over. We saw it with Diener a couple years ago, and I found him out in the hallway of the hotel, and I was sitting and said, "What's wrong, Diener?" And he couldn't talk to me. There was no communication.
Yeah.
And I forget who was even standing there, and they translated back, and he said, I'm over here with all of these luxuries, and my family's at home with none.
Yep.
And so it was just the reality of hearing him talk again. It's the same thing.
It is.
It's the reality.
It is.
They can come over here and compete and make a living, but not just make a living, make a better life for their family.
You're right. Because one thing too, when you win $1 here, it's worth right now is worth 4.5, and it's really 4.5. You can buy 4 Cokes and a half with the $1. And it's a lot of money. You can get to give a better life for your family. You can give a better life for yourself because they raised us, like my mom was single, they got divorced and my mom did what she could. I cannot blame her, I just have to do on my own, but it's not her fault. She has to hustle to do whatever she could.
Right. Wow.
Jose, they've been making a lot of comparisons, this last 2 weeks with, how your riding percentage, you started out the year, how they parallel Adriano, right? What's your take on all of that?
Que eles estão comparando suas porcentagens de montada dos anos que vocês estão fazendo e a maioria delas de começo do ano é tudo muito igual e é muito comparado com as porcentagens do Adriano. O que você tem para falar sobre isso?
Acho que ser comparado com o Adriano é um orgulho para mim, porque olha quem foi o Adriano. Então ele fez a história que fez, foi 3 vezes campeão mundial e conquistou o mundo montando em touros. Então você ter uma comparação dessa é muito gratificante. Eu fico muito, muito feliz, mas acho que tem um longo caminho ainda pela frente. Só quero continuar montando os meus touros e entregar tudo nas mãos de Deus. Se for de conseguir bons títulos como ele conseguiu, lógico que vou ficar muito feliz. Esse é o meu sonho.
Yeah. Being kind of compared to Adriano, it's an honor, because Adriano came here. He was the pioneer. He was the first one who came over, and look where he got. He won 3 gold buckles. He's a 3-time world champion, and to be compare as him, it's amazing because I don't know if I'm going to win, how many I'm going to win. I'm trying to win 4 or 5, but if I can just do what he did, it's just amazing. And I'm just it's a long ways to go for me still. I'm just want to kind of just keep focusing, putting God's hand in whatever he got for me planned. It's gonna happen.
So, Paulo, who is the new – we've been seeing brand new guys on the Velocity Tour every single week. Amadou Silva, he rides as good with his legs as anybody because his shoulder pops out of socket as soon as he gets in his truck to drive somewhere. He's got – his shoulder's the worst I've ever seen in my life. But past maybe that guy, who's the next – superstar that's coming up that we don't know about yet?
We have a little one of them kids. His name is Alex Cicada. I think it's Cicada, his last name. He's not quite fit in yet, but he was really salty in Brazil, and I think he's going to be one of the guys going to show up pretty quick. And it's a couple other new guys I don't even know because I just I met them here, and I've been seeing it's about 5 younger guys going to be on the tour pretty soon, and they're going to be. And this is the deal in Brazil. If you go there, just like you get soccer players, they got bucking bull pens everywhere. And those guys be getting on bulls, calves, anything they got 4 legs, they'll get on. And this is where they come to be as good because they don't have another option. If they go work, they're going to make $60 a day. And if they ride a bull, they can make better living. That's what everybody does it. And that's something, it's kind of really big in Brazil.
Yeah, there's an invasion.
It's
almost crazy right now, but that's good.
When we were at Jose's house this last fall, and everybody was there practicing, and like I said, it was a big family, and everybody was there. But what I want to talk about is the practice bulls that were at Jose's that day are not the same as a practice pin anywhere else. I kid you not.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. When you watch you get on practice bulls during the week, you're not getting on 16, 17 pointers. And that's, I think, speaks a lot.
That's what it makes the difference. When you put yourself in a point to get on a 20, maybe a 21 point bull for practicing, that kind of push yourself to be the best you can get. Yeah. If you look this way, it makes sense because if you used to get on that caliber of bulls, you ain't going to see any difference when you go to the events. You're going to get on the same thing. And the good thing about Jose, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes he gets a little problem away from his hands. And he goes there. He bought 3 new bulls. They all go to the right. For him, that's away from his hand just to kind of get that thing
Practice.
going. He's just so focused and know
awesome.
what he does. It's amazing.
And that, having the ability to, you can think of Tom Brady, quarterback for the Patriots in
Yes,
American
sir.
football, right? So obviously his wealth has provided him an opportunity to have his own gym, have his own trainer. It's kind of parallel with being able to, your success has afforded you to be able to have a soccer field for training, an arena right behind your home, being able to get those bulls and say,
You're right.
you don't just take what you have to,
Yeah.
you can say, let's raise the bar.
But what he's done that you still don't see, and maybe Tom Brady does it, we don't see it, but Jose's opened up all of those things for all those new guys coming in.
Yeah. Tom Brady's not having 50 people over,
Exactly.
65 people over.
Yeah.
I mean, it
to
just
practice
speaks volumes
3
to who
nights
he
a
is as a man, just to see that his house was open. I mean, the pool was open, the soccer field was going, they were bucking bulls.
Well, the roping contest.
Yeah,
in the driveway.
but it was everything. There was everything going on, and he was never selfish. He was never. I mean, it was just
That's
Nobody
one
was.
thing. It's just, when we get together, we normally all get together. It's so many now, we kind of split a little bit because it's no way to have everybody going to the same place as much because it's so many people there now. But you can see every place you go. If you go to Fabiano, Silvano, or Jose or any place, they got something going on. Fabiano got the roping arena. He does more roping. And Silvano does have the bucking arena too and the roping. They do a lot of those two things. But Jose is the one that kind of have more action right now. And you see all the kids playing and they go do whatever. It's just a big family reunion. That's what it is. Every weekend.
that's how it felt.
Every week, actually.
I left
Weekend.
there. I told Cody, I spent 19 years as a football coach, college football coach. And when we left there the second night, we were about 5 minutes away, and I said, man, I don't know how many years, my last year of coaching was in 2011. Since then, that's probably the strongest feeling of that camaraderie, that locker room, that being part of an organization that I'd had since coaching.
Yeah.
And it was amazing living there, or leaving there. So.
Nós estamos falando do que, assim, que a família, o jeito que é, né? Que nem hoje é tanta gente que fica separado, né? De coisa, mas toda vez que na maioria das coisas acontece na sua casa hoje. Porque ele estava te comparando com o quarterback do Patriot, que tem o que ele conquistou jogando futebol, proporcionou para ele ter uma academia, um treinador, tem tudo na casa dele. Você tem um campo de bola, é comparado, entendeu? A arena, a piscina e assim, o que ele sentiu aquele dia lá, de estar todo mundo unido, de você não ter tipo assim, não ser um cara arrogante, de tá tudo aberto. Tinha gente pulando boi, tinha gente nadando, tinha criança jogando bola, entendeu? Tava tudo acontecendo. Então foi a coisa que ele foi coach por muito tempo no college. Então ele falou que fazia muitos anos que ele não sentia aquela união entre pessoas no lugar que ele sentiu ali.
Eu gosto disso porque eu sempre procuro deixar de portões abertos para quem quiser chegar e ajudar e estar ali junto com a gente. Isso é muito importante pela falta, né, que a gente estava falando da família, a gente está longe, a gente é muito sozinho aqui em questão familiar. Então, os amigos nesse momento são os que te acolhem, que te ajudam, que estão ali junto com você. Então, eu procurei fazer várias coisas ali dentro de casa para que possa reunir a maior quantidade de pessoas possíveis e estar ali junto, descontraindo, brincando, seja se divertindo com as crianças.
Suprir essa carência que a gente tem, né?
Isso aí.
That's what he's just saying. It's like he tried to create, as much interaction as possible, like the soccer, the pool, and the arena, to receive as many people he can come to kind of replace and kind of fill in that hole with the family missing, just kind of rely on the friends, because that's what we kind of rely on. We don't have our families. We got to rely on our friends and just kind of make our family out of that group and just have a good relationship and count with each other. When you're going through something bad, you got your friends to go there, pack on your notes, say, hey, let's go, let's do this, and help you out, go through that hard. Because it's not easy leaving your country, coming over here and don't know anything. It's hard.
What we see is bull riders do tend to help each other, just in general, right?
Yes, sir.
It is a solo sport, but it's your solo sport against the animal. You compete against the other riders, but it's not against them.
Yeah.
And so you rely on those things, input, because someone gets bucked off. If you watch the camera, they walk around to the steps, and even as they're going up the steps, one of their partners or something has walked over to the stairs, and they're talking about, you got turned or the bull did this. And it is obvious with the Brazilian riders that it is a conference.
You're right.
You know, there's 5 or 6.
It's a lot of them.
And it's like we watch it and how, you know, the rider who just comes off engages it's like listen to that one, listen to that one, listen to that one. Listen. All right. But that is awesome.
Yeah, it's great because everybody
that makes it a team sport.
It is. It's just like over there we try. It's like you say, it's individual, but you're not competing against each other. You're riding your bull and depend on the judge to score you. And then we rely and we trust each other so much to the point to if they say you did this, you're gonna trust and pay attention on that. You know,
because
it's their eyes are watching. Yeah. You're right, and it's a set of good eyes watching too.
Well, it's game day today, so we could make this 3 or 4 episodes with these two guys. And it's a great conversation this morning.
If we need.
But Jose's got to go sign some autographs. Paulo's got a big day ahead of him, and
world number 1. I mean, you gotta go take care of business now.
You're right.
Go
Yeah.
smile and shake hands. Gotta see the babies. Go see the people.
Hey, he might not tell you the truth. Maybe you get a little massage at the hotel or something. You got the little background on that.
I'm not hating on that.
Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast, part of our little conversation series here on the Two Big Guys in Grover podcast. So join us next time, and thank you, Paulo. Thank you
for having us.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
See you guys next time.
Yes, sir.